In the early stages of Formula One, driver safety was an afterthought. So, despite the horrendous conditions, the race would go on. 15 drivers started the Belgian Grand Prix. Only 5 would finish. 4 drivers immediately crashed, sliding off the course in the wet conditions, one tearing through the upstairs window of a nearby house. A young Jackie Stewart, a day after his 27th birthday, continued to push towards the Mastic Kink at speeds nearing 190 miles an hour. Entering a sharp turn, his number 7 car slid off the track, hitting a telephone pole and a shed before coming to rest in a ditch, upside down, with fuel flooding the cockpit. Stewart would remain trapped for nearly half an hour, up to his waist in leaking petrol with a broken shoulder and cracked ribs. Teammates Graham Hill and Bob Bondurant, who had also crashed, struggled to extract him from the mangled wreckage with tools provided by a spectator, as there were no track workers to be found. With no medical crew on site either, Stewart was then carried to the back of a pickup truck, which would later have to take him to the Circuit First Aid Center because the ambulance got lost.
But I never forget being laid down on the stretcher on a concrete floor littered with cigarette ends. And this was the condition of a place that was supposed to be a medical facility.
Born in Dumbartonshire, Scotland in 1939, John Young Stewart grew up as a miserable student and would drop out of school at age 15. He took up shooting, becoming one of the top shots in the United Kingdom. But after a failed attempt at making the British Olympic team in 1960, he tried out racing, a sport at which his brother had already found some success. In 1965, he found himself a seat in Formula One, where he would win an incredible 3 championships. The Spa-Francorchamps crash in 1966 left Stewart sidelined and led to a disappointing 7th place finish overall. Accidents like Stewart's had become common occurrences in Formula One and were often much worse. The first Formula One championship race was staged in 1950, the Silverstone Grand Prix, and over the next 15 years, 17 drivers would die while racing, and there were also innumerable crashes. Men would drive their way to stardom and then vanish.
It was very dangerous. There was a 2 out of 3 chance you were going to die if you lasted a 5-year period. A 1 out of 3 you were going to live. Ridiculous. There was no safety precautions at all. There were no runoff areas. There were no deformable structures or barriers such as we have today. The marshals were vulnerable, the public were vulnerable, and nobody was doing anything about it.
Stewart credits his survival at Spa to his uncommon practice of wearing a seatbelt, and shortly thereafter, other drivers followed suit. Safer barriers were also an innovation that he pushed for in Formula One. When Stewart was racing, straw bales were common, often used as substitutes for barriers, or there would simply be no barrier at all. Driver after driver would run off the track and either be killed on impact after hitting a solid barrier or be thrown off the course completely, still at near full speed. It became so dangerous that there were multiple occasions where drivers were thrown into nearby barbed wire fences and decapitated. In addition, Stewart pushed the Fédération Internationale des Automobiles, or FIA, Formula One's governing body, to take a more active role in ensuring the safety of drivers and spectators. He led track boycotts as a driver at Spa in 1969 and the equally dangerous Nürburgring in 1970. As a result, by the end of the 1960s, the FIA had banned straw bales from circuits and specified that cockpits must be designed for fast evacuation. The FIA would later introduce measures to ensure swift response time for circuit fires and rescue facilities. Many of the new protocols were reflective of what Stewart felt was lacking at his own harrowing experience at Spa in 1966. Stewart would also work with track owners and the racing director to improve runoff areas and medical facilities, prompting the implementation of an on-call, on-site doctor for every Formula One race, and require full-face helmets. These reforms greatly improved the overall track safety around Formula One, saving countless lives. After retiring in 1973, Stewart became the leader of the Grand Prix Drivers Association. Stewart would again lead a driver boycott as head of the GPDA at Nürburgring after a near-deadly crash of fellow champion driver and safety advocate Niki Lauda in 1976, successfully eliminating the race from the Formula One season. Specifically, what made Jackie a powerful leader and a remarkable person was that he went beyond being a hero. He did the right thing. Stewart's ability to rally enough of the drivers despite enormous opposition to his safety efforts from other drivers, fans, and track owners was a testament to his leadership abilities. It can be argued that Stewart's efforts to improve safety even extended beyond the world of Formula One. In 1973, he signed with Ford as an engineering consultant. He brought what he knew about mechanics and safety from the world of racing directly into contact with the development of commercial cars. Stewart also organized public safety initiatives, such as his driver's program, Formula Ford Finesse with Jackie Stewart, providing exercises that taught people how to drive smoothly and avoid an accident. In addition, many Formula One innovations and technologies trickled their way down to consumer cars. For example, seatbelts that were first coming into use in Formula One in the early 1970s under Stewart would make their way into road cars with seatbelt laws in the United Kingdom in 1983 and the United States in 1984. With Stewart also leading the initiative to improve track safety barriers, they would become standard at all Formula One courses and can be found on today's roads as well. He also started the important trend of the sport actively campaigning for road safety. Teams such as Mercedes-AMG produce PSAs on seatbelts and driver focus, as well as road safety in general. The FIA itself holds similar campaigns for awareness, such as their campaign Action for Road Safety. Technology that was created as a result of the 70s safety reforms, such as carbon fiber monocoques and improved brakes, have also made their way down the ladder of motorsport to the generic daily driver. Ironically, however, today's Formula One is considered by many to be deeply flawed, with safety measures taking away from the glamour and excitement of early Formula One. Safety is universally considered a good thing, and it can be agreed that the safety that has been created on the public roads is an excellent improvement. But what about the racing? The spectacular combustions of yesteryear have simmered to mundane controlled collisions, the majestic vast countryside to modernized business-like facilities, bashful heroics to calculated engineering. And due to the ever-evolving safety regulation, Formula One cars have been getting slower and slower over the past decade. One thing cannot be debated. Formula One transcends borders. It was and still is the greatest test of athleticism, talent, and bravery on the planet. It is the ultimate stage. Nothing touches it. Despite perhaps not being what it used to be, Formula One is still the pinnacle of engineering for land travel. And, thanks to Jackie Stewart, it has become so much more than that, pushing safety forward for all drivers, making the most popular mode of transportation in history safer. The brave men who spat at death. The brave men who lost. They were part of something so much bigger than anyone could have originally imagined.